And it was his?
Oh, yeah, the same song.
Oh, yeah, should be here.
Are you gonna work with him?
You should do a record.
Can you talk just a little bit about Elvis and coming and doing this show and just your relationship with him and what he kind of, the atmosphere that he creates musically and creatively?
Well, I mean, I love hanging out with him. I love working with him, but I love just hanging with him too because he's so inspiring. He's so enthusiastic about music. He has an incredibly wide and deep knowledge of all kinds of music. You know, he's one of the few Brits I know who really understands and appreciates country and folk and bluegrass music. And yeah, it's fun. You know, the way this started, we had kind of circled around each other for years and years, and I recorded Our Little Angel. And, you know, he called me after I recorded Our Little Angel, and he was very effusive about that, and it was great. And then a couple years ago, after Black Cadillac came out, my last record, I was in Balducci's, and I ran into him. And he came up to me, and he goes, "The World Unseen is as good a song as ever been written." It's one of my songs on that record. Well, I was just so flattered. So we exchanged emails that day and phone numbers. And I was about to play Carnegie Hall, and I asked him to come sit in with me, and he did. And then he asked me to do Letterman with him, and I did that. And then we did this show at the Robyn Museum together, and that was really fun. And then this recording thing has started going on. So we keep bumping into each other and making a playtime out of it.
You want us all just to sing together?
I didn't plan to even sing it.
So what about this particular show, this guitar pull concept? How did that conversation go when he spoke to you about it?
He first talked to me about doing the show and that there would be a subtext of my dad's music in the show, and I thought that was cool. And then he said it was going to be a guitar pull. So, you know, I've done a million of those. I'm totally into doing that. I love that. Love the whole format. And then he said it was Chris and Nora and John Mellencamp. Well, I'll come. I'll definitely do that.
It's a pretty interesting group.
Yeah.
It was interesting watching during sound check, just working out parts in some of the songs. You enjoy that?
I do. I love collaboration. I love singing with people I haven't sung before, like John and Nora. I've worked with Nora, but we never sang together. And that's really exciting and fun.
I don't want to steal any thunder because you'll talk about all this hopefully out there, but guitar pulls and those kinds of gatherings, I mean, what kind of memories do you have of those sorts of things?
The first ones that I remember were at my dad's house when I was a kid. And he would invite all different kinds of people, Graham Nash and Tammy Wynette, you know, and Joni Mitchell and George Jones. And everybody and anybody went to these guitar pulls. And I don't know if the form originated with him, but in my mind, the myth of guitar pulls, it did. And then, you know, as I became a songwriter myself, I participated in many shows like that. We did a lot of those at the Bottom Line. And I enjoy the form. And there's a little competition in it, too, you know. It's like you want your song to be better than the guys next to you.
But it's not quite a blood sport, is it?
No, it's not a blood sport.
But it's competitive.
A little bit, undercurrent.
You know, it's awkward to ask someone of your pedigree about influence and inspiration, you know. But can you talk about that at all, you know, as a songwriter,
Sure.
as an artist? Or is it just
Beyond
so
the obvious?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously my family was a template for everything. But in my teens, I pushed that away to kind of absorb my own influences and to choose what my influences would be, because I already had all of that by osmosis. Not only my dad, but country music in general. So then I was a huge Beatles fan. I grew up in Southern California, and so I was listening to all of those bands: Buffalo Springfield, Spencer Davis, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Derek and the Dominoes, Janis Joplin, all of that. And then I think with Joni, it kind of occurred to me that a woman could be a songwriter too. It's really the first time it occurred to me. So that was a watershed moment. And then rediscovered country again when I was an adult in a new way. My dad kind of gave me this list of songs to learn, and I learned to play guitar from Helen and Maybelle Carter. So that I learned their whole lexicon, you know, and you mix a little Buffalo Springfield in with that, and you got something pretty juicy.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, the generational thing, just the
Yeah.
time that you came up and all the kind of music that was happening, it was connected to what your dad, you know, started doing in the 50s, but then you kind of pure country music was a different discipline.
Right.
So you really, it probably took you a while, right, to kind of
It
blend
did.
everything?
It did, and when I first started making records, you know, and they categorized me as a country record, I really resisted that. Not out of disrespect, but out of respect. Like, I know what real country is, and I know that's not what I do. So it became more of a, I mean, as years went by, it became a marketing term rather than a pure genre.
Your dad's influence, and I said this to some of the other people that are on the show, you know, your dad looms so large over American music, period.
Yeah.
But his stature and respect and everything, it seems just to grow even stronger, like by the day, and it's almost surprising in a way because there's distance and
Right.
you know, it's from a different generation. You know, what do you make of that and just how iconic he's become?
It's complicated for me because a part of me doesn't want to see my dad be an icon, or this kind of religious fervor grow up around him, or these attempts to mythologize him or make him less than human by making him a myth. So I resist that, and you know, when people want me to participate in that in public ways, and I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel right to me. But what is true is the power of his music and what a great artist he was. He was one of a handful of truly great artists of the 20th century. And that doesn't go away. I mean, that's forever.